Hello everyone, welcome to the Alrazda channel. Here I will share spoilers for SwallowedStar episode 169. Remember, this is based on the novel, so it won't be 100% identical to the Donghua version. Alright, without further ado, let's dive right into the story. After Luofeng and the others were saved by Venerable Ninesword and other immortal warriors, a fierce battle ensued between the insect race and the human race at the immortal level. To make a long story short, when the insect race was cornered, some of the survivors and the insect queen's nest escaped through the God Country transmission. On the other hand, Luofeng greeted Venerable Ninesword and thanked him. Upon hearing that Luofeng's previous mission had been completed, Venerable Ninesword asked Luofeng to report to his master, Emperor Zhenyan, immediately. Without delay, Luofeng returned to meet Sifan Qi and Jitian Chang to thank them for their cooperation and say goodbye. Long story short, Luofeng entered the virtual world on Yunmo's ship. Luofeng successfully completed the first level of the mission by killing many enemies, including Yao Hai, an important figure. Luofeng's outstanding performance caught the attention of his master, Emperor Zhenyan, one of the top members of the Virtual Universe Company. Emperor Zhenyan called Luofeng to his home in the virtual world to discuss the results of his mission. Luofeng explained in detail how he completed the mission without hiding anything. Emperor Zhenyan praised Luofeng's courage and decisiveness, but also reminded him that the mission would not only be judged based on the results, but also on how Luofeng acted and made decisions. The Virtual Universe Company will evaluate every aspect of his behavior, from how he interacts with other members to how he handles powerful enemies. They will determine whether Luofeng is worthy of being promoted and trained further. Luofeng felt anxious about his evaluation. Although he had successfully completed the mission, he was worried that his brutal methods would make some of the higher-ups at Virtual Universe Company dislike him. Emperor Zhenyan explained that some of the higher-ups preferred candidates who were more prudent and diplomatic, while others valued courage and decisiveness. The outcome of the evaluation would depend heavily on who was assigned to assess his performance. After discussing the mission, Emperor Zhenyan revealed that he had another important message for Luofeng. He explained that Venerable Undying, a legendary figure and one of the founders of the Huge Axe Dojo, one of the strongest organizations in the universe, wanted to contact Luofeng personally. Venerable Undying is an extremely powerful being, even stronger than Emperor Zhenyan himself, and his status is equivalent to that of the leader of the Tianshi Palace from the Virtual Universe Company. Venerable Undying's desire to meet Luofeng left Luofeng deeply shocked and confused. Emperor Zhenyan explained that Venerable Undying was a very mysterious and powerful being, and he did not know why he wanted to meet Luofeng. He advised Luofeng to prepare himself and wait for Venerable Undying's call. A few moments later, Luofeng received a video call from an anonymous number. As he answered the call, a strong pressure filled his room. He saw a silhouette on the screen, a figure wearing strange armor made of vines. The figure was Venerable Undying. Before Luofeng could speak, Venerable Undying immediately attacked him with a powerful illusion. Luofeng managed to fend off the illusion, but he felt the extraordinary power emanating from Venerable Undying. Venerable Undying, who has an eccentric and temperamental personality, introduced himself and then revealed his purpose. He wanted to buy the Milky Way galaxy from Luofeng. Venerable Undying explained that he could not take over the Milky Way galaxy by force because of an agreement between 5 powerful entities that governed the universe. Therefore, he wishes to purchase it directly from Luofeng, who is the leader of that galaxy. Luofeng was utterly shocked by Venerable Undying's request. He had never imagined that his first encounter with Venerable Undying would end with an offer to purchase the entire galaxy he led. He had to carefully consider how he would respond to the request. The decision he made would have a profound impact on his future and the fate of the Milky Way galaxy. This meeting marked the beginning of a new adventure filled with challenges and mysteries. Luofeng's future and that of the Milky Way galaxy now hung in the balance. Luofeng's story continues with a tense encounter with Venerable Undying, an absolute being with an unpredictable temperament. The pressure emanating from Venerable Undying made Luofeng feel like a tiny ant in front of him. Despite his fear, Luofeng displays extraordinary courage. He refuses Venerable Undying's demand to buy Earth, explaining that Earth is the home of humanity and he will never sell it. Luofeng's firm stance surprised Venerable Undying. Although Venerable Undying had the power to kill Luofeng easily, he was impressed by Luofeng's courage and determination. Venerable Undying then changed his request, asking only for an island on Earth. Luofeng agreed, and thus he managed to avoid a direct confrontation with the powerful being. This incident reveals the complex personality of Venerable Undying. Although he appears arrogant and temperamental, he also values courage and decisiveness. He did not kill Luofeng, perhaps because he was impressed by Luofeng's determination, or because he did not want to deal with the consequences of killing such a talented genius. On the other hand, we see Luofeng's intelligence and strategy. He realizes that rejecting Venerable Undying outright would be fatal, but he also does not want to give up Earth. Cleverly, he concedes a little, offering an island as a compromise. This decision saves his life and preserves his honor and integrity. On the other hand, King Yanju and his group secretly managed to set foot on Earth. Yanju had made preparations in advance by placing immortal crystals to facilitate rapid teleportation to Earth, demonstrating his planning and strategic superiority. Yanju's group consisted of 6 king-level immortals and 12 marquis-level immortals, demonstrating significant strength. They discussed strategies for obtaining Earth from Luofeng without arousing suspicion. Yanju realized that Luofeng might not be aware of Earth's importance, and planned to use trickery by offering to buy the entire Milky Way galaxy as a diversion. Bu Na, an immortal of the king level, was assigned to lure Luofeng into the trap. Meanwhile, on Earth, the Luofeng family faces a threat from Bu Na. The large Luofeng family, scattered across the globe, becomes the target. Bu Na uses his powers to capture members of the Luofeng family, forcing Luofeng to take action. Luofeng, upon receiving news of his family's arrest, immediately took action. He realized the danger his family was in and decided to return to Earth. He used Dylan's God Country transmission to teleport to Earth, avoiding detection by Bu Na. Tension escalates as Luofeng rushes back to Earth to save his family. Careful planning and strategy on both sides create a tense climax. This story shows a battle between power and strategy, in which Luofeng must use his intelligence to fight against a force far greater than himself. The battle between Luofeng and Yanju will determine the fate of Earth and his family. In a distant place in the sky, Luofeng and Dylan, 2 figures emitting bright light, arrived above Luofeng's residence. They were greeted by jubilant subordinates, including Luofeng's wife, Shu Xin, who was bound but whose eyes shone with a mixture of joy and worry. Their presence caught the attention of Bu Na, a high-ranking official who had kidnapped Shu Xin. Bu Na, with a sly smile, explained that Shu Xin's kidnapping was merely a tactic to lure Luofeng. He claimed to have no malicious intent and immediately released Shu Xin at Luofeng's request. However, Luofeng remained suspicious. Bu Na invited Luofeng to talk in a quieter place. Meanwhile, within Luofeng's world ring, a dimensional space accessible only to him, Luofeng's Mosha body, which contained the core of his life within the world ring, managed to secretly escape without Bu Na's knowledge and spread throughout Luofeng's residence. Luofeng's family, including his parents and Di Fan, along with the world masters, were unknowingly drawn into the world ring. They were unaware that they were in a different world from Earth. At the entrance to his residence, Luofeng and Bu Na began their conversation. Bu Na revealed his purpose. He wanted to purchase the Milky Way galaxy, including Earth, for 100 Hun Yuan. Luofeng was shocked. He recalled a previous incident where a Venerable Undying had also wanted to buy the Milky Way galaxy, but Bu Na's offer was significantly lower. Luofeng refused Bu Na's offer, stating his willingness to sell other planets but not Earth, his family's home. Bu Na refused to give up, reaffirming his interest in Earth. He asked Luofeng to name his price. Luofeng firmly refused. Suddenly, Bu Na sent a message, and a large group of powerful beings, including King Yanju and 17 other immortals, appeared. They all came from the huge axe dojo, and their power was terrifying. Dylan, Luofeng's bodyguard, warned Luofeng of the impending danger. King Yanju, without any preamble, immediately offered 1 billion hunyuan for Earth. Luofeng refused. Yanju, losing his patience, used his power to abduct the entire human population on Earth, leaving only those who were in Luofeng's residence. He made another offer to Luofeng: sell Earth and receive 1 billion hunyuan, or refuse and witness the death of all humanity. On the other hand, Luofeng, despite his fear, tried to remain calm. He knew that Yanju was hesitant to attack him directly because Luofeng had activated a broadcast synchronized to the virtual universe company. Any act of violence against him would be recorded and could cause major problems for Yanju. However, Yanju had strong influence, and he was confident that he could evade punishment even if Luofeng were killed. Yanju made another offer to Luofeng: surrender the rights to Earth or face dire consequences. Luofeng, in an attempt to buy time and seek help, lied about having made a deal with a Venerable Undying from the huge Axe Dojo to sell Earth. He claimed that the Venerable Undying would arrive soon to complete the transaction, and Yanju would be powerless to do anything. Yanju, though suspicious, hesitated. He knew that the Death Knight possessed extraordinary power and great influence in the huge Axe Dojo, and even held a higher status than his father. Luofeng's lie, though risky, bought him some time. However, Yanju did not remain silent. He threatened to use his slaves in the immortal realm to kill Luofeng without leaving any traces linking him to the murder. He also planned to capture Dylan, Luofeng's bodyguard, to prevent him from helping. Yanju was certain that after Luofeng's death, his son, who had no influence in the universe, would hand over the rights to Earth to him. On the other hand, Luofeng, despite appearing resigned, secretly sent a message to Venerable Yumo through the virtual universe company. He explained the dire situation he was facing and begged for help. He knew that this was his last chance to save himself and Earth. Meanwhile, Luofeng continued his charade with Yanju, pretending to be resigned while continuing to stall for time. He knew that every second was precious. Suddenly, a powerful, eternal energy swept across the entire planet. Yanju and his troops were taken aback. Luofeng realized that Venerable Yumo had arrived sooner than he had expected. A teleportation occurred, and a powerful figure appeared above them. That figure was Venerable Yumo, a very strong and famous warrior whose presence made Yanju and his troops tremble with fear. Venerable Yumo was Luofeng's ally, and his arrival marked a dramatic change in this tense situation. An inevitable battle was about to begin. The fate of Luofeng and Earth now hinged on this new balance of power. Was Venerable Yumo strong enough to defeat Yanju and his forces? Would Luofeng survive? And what would become of Earth? Alright, thank you for watching until the end, and don't forget to support this channel with likes, subscribe, and comments. That's all from me. Bye.